what do you make of the Conor McGregor phenomenon? I know you tweeted right before the fight, your heart says Aldo and your head said McGregor, which
Yeah.
says so much about you as an analyst, really. You've obviously been in the UK. You've seen him coming up through the Cage Warriors. Last time you were here with Patrick Vickers, he's been talking about Conor McGregor for 3-4 years. Like you said, John Gooden was calling his earlier fights. If you're in Europe, it's not a surprise. If you're in America, he's quite surprising. What do you make of the McGregor phenomenon, the recent fights, everything?
I love it. I love it. It's interesting for me because I find it as fascinating as I do challenging. Because a part of me is like, God, I want to be in there doing what he's doing. He's got the talk, he's got the skills, and I kind of feel like there was a point in my career where I was on my way to being where he was. I didn't have the out of control confidence that he's got. I was always like we were saying, I was always quite honest with myself. But at the same time, I love the brash, the trash talking, the breaking fighters before the fights even started, and he's drawn so much attention to a weight class that had before been quite stagnant. As much as I love champions to defend their belt and to reign and be fantastic, and as much as I wanted Aldo to win on Saturday night for no other reason other than I just didn't want him to lose because he's Jose Aldo. I think Conor's absolutely fantastic for the sport. I mean, he has the potential to take us into an area that we've not experienced before. I think he has. I think Ronda did the first big push, and I think McGregor's the next one.
And so you kind of love it and hate it. There's something also very American about it too, and
Yeah.
over the top completely, right?
Yeah.
And unmartial artist, but at the same time, Conor can be a very grounded martial artist as well.
I think he is. I think he is a very grounded martial artist, and I think there was a point in his career where, and I think it was kind of around the world tour, it kind of got away from him a little bit, and it's almost like in the build-up for this last fight against Aldo, he was far calmer and much more at peace with the whole situation. I mean, obviously, the work he's been doing with Ido Portal as well. I'm a big fan of Portal's work, his movement patterns and stuff, and I feel like mixed martial arts has been moving in that direction for some time, and I think McGregor has the recognition and he has the respect to kind of change the way that people prepare for fights. I mean, the quote by John Kavanagh, we're upgrading the software without damaging the hardware, is one of the smartest things that's probably ever been said about the sport of mixed martial arts, because so many times people are getting in there beaten up. Like I used to do training camp and then the fight happened to be on the end of it. I was never in training camp preparing for a fight, and I can look back and review all of my training camps in the same way. I pushed too hard. I was always overtrained. There was always something that wasn't moving well, that was sticking, that was painful, that was injured. And when you watch McGregor in there now, just the way he moves, you can see how, like he said, how free his movement is. That's a beautiful thing, and I think that the phase in which I was competing mixed martial arts, we'd lost touch with that, and the direction that mixed martial arts is going now is much more where I would want to be a part of it, and that's a lot of it is down to McGregor and bringing awareness to these different alternative approaches to training, and Gunnar Nelson as well. We can't discredit him as well.
Yeah, I think you were kind of in Vegas at the time where that super hard rounds of, sparring, kind of the old AKA type sparrings on Tuesdays and Fridays, and you go in there and get beat was kind of the thing. And I think people were just starting to move away from that and think, wait a second. And then Conor obviously has fully embraced that and almost flipped it over 180 degrees. And he even said in the press conference, he's like, I didn't wake up that day with my foot hurting. I didn't wake up this. And I had Ido Portal in here about 4 months ago, and then we did another interview after he had actually trained with Conor in Dublin, and he emailed me when they were in LA about a week ago, and he's like, Brian, we're here on the beach. He's like, everything is cool. Everything is great. We are relaxed. We're having fun. And I was just thinking, what a great mental state to be in, as a great contrast to what we saw Rousey in, where, there's so much pressure, but they're in this just gelled state. They're out having fun, moving, being free. And then and I love Aldo, and I love him as a champion. I remember in the EC days, and I remember him chopping Uriah Faber's leg down to where Master Tong was lifting Uriah up from the center of the ring and putting him on the stool because he couldn't move. But you have to to know that kind of meme of the Thai boxer, the low kick, you do see that over and over in him. And with Conor, you see this whole openness to a new kind of motion.
Yeah.
And so it's incredible to kind of to see that. And when Ito also came back here and we did this moving conversation, which we're going to publish in a couple weeks, but he said, Brian, there's two Conors. There's the showman and there's the martial artist that hangs out in the gym and likes to have fun and jokes. And then there's the guy you see, on the world tour with Jose, where he's just completely over the top. And that Go Big press conference, like I was just flabbergasted, and I follow the sport and I was just like literally he went big.
Yeah.
And you've got every other belt holder on the stage that is just silent.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, when he was quiet the week before the fight with Aldo, that was completely congruent as well. And I was like, okay, here's a guy who's not going to put a show on for anyone else. And I was just thinking, and maybe you thought that way too, because you're thinking he's doing the right thing for him to win.
Yeah, yeah. I think that his attitude during fight week, the one just gone, was exactly what he needed to do. We were at the point in his career where if he'd have been obnoxious and over the top towards Aldo again, I think a lot of people would have just been like, okay, enough of this. Because there is a point that you get to where you just kind of don't want to hear that anymore. And he did well. I mean, the Go Big press conference, like you said, it was fun to watch. He was brash, he was outspoken. He called out 3 divisions worth of people, But at the same time, it got a lot of people talking. It drew a lot of attention, and I like that. On the flip side, though, I didn't want it to continue on to the point where it would damage Conor as an individual brand. Because it's not going to damage the UFC. People are going to still continue to tune into the UFC, even if they want to watch Conor lose. 80% of the fans that watched the fight could have wanted to watch Conor lose, but the money is still going in, the numbers are still going in. But the actual brand of Conor McGregor, had he have been that same person that was on the world tour, I think he would have done more damage to his brand than he did, than benefit this last week. I thought he was relaxed, he was personable, he was spending a lot of time with fans. Any video that you saw him in, he was laughing, he was making jokes. It was a lot more of a playful kind of, like the Conor that you would expect to see in the gym. And I think we were all ready to see some of that, and I think it was the right time.
What did you make of the fight? To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to LondonRealAcademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at LondonRealAcademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.